Hi, welcome to our Sellers Masterclass. Tonight we're going to be going over the 5 keys to maximize sales price. Now we're giving this masterclass in a few different ways. We are doing it in person. We have some folks here with us tonight as well. And we're also live streaming to YouTube, to Facebook, and to Twitch. So look, if you've got questions, I'm not sure how we're going to get the questions.
I'm going to go outside.
Okay. So anyway, let's get going. So we're here, the 5 keys to maximize sales price. So let's talk a little bit about what this is all about. First off, it's really important. Real estate is fraught with lots of situations where people don't really know what to do, maybe make some bad decisions, all of those sorts of things. We want to explain what happens with the market and how you can, what things are important to getting the highest sales price for your home. Smart moves made here. Because buying and selling a home is too important to leave to chance. And it's too important to let every decision be guided by emotions and first impressions alone. What's our agenda tonight? So first off, we're going to go into smart decisions. What do we mean by smart decisions? It's using all of the resources that are around to actually understand what components are important when selling a home and making smart decisions about those. Preparation. Why preparation? We'll get onto that. Staging, marketing, and excellence through teamwork. So now we head on to Marcus, where smart decisions. It's easy to get information and data today. I'll let you continue on with that.
So, smart decisions. The whole idea around smart decisions is that it's relatively easy to get information and data today, but it's much harder to make sense of it. And there's a lot going on. It's all very well seeing the information, but there's a lot more going on. So what we're going to talk about now is kind of give you an overview of that kind of smart decisions. We're serious about the data. If you've gone on our website, you'll see lots and lots of information about the local market. So we kind of look at it, some might say a little bit obsessively, but lots of information, either on our website or the Lexington Market Review, which we have some copies outside. We can let you have that actually on your way out. So,
well, we've got Arlington Market Reviews. We've got information about an awful lot of towns around the area.
Right. And I guess what everybody really wants to know is what's the impact of COVID on the housing market? I mean, what impact did it have? Every month we do a much more detailed look we do both Lexington, Arlington, and then we talk at different towns as well. But we do that on a monthly basis. So I'm going to give you a quick overview this evening, and that way we can focus on the 5 keys. So this is single-family home prices. Cut to the chase. This is what everybody wants to know.
And this is Lexington specifically.
Right. This is Lexington data. The blue is historical data. All the way from 2001 to 2020. And then the green is month by month. And then the red line you see running across the middle or the upper end of the screen is the running average. So as you can see, this dip here was what if I can do this? Is this one? Oh, look at that. That was the crash in the market, the so-called crash. But as you can see, it really wasn't very much. And it's been rising steadily since. What's interesting is that we saw a rise in 2020, but look at the rise we've seen in 2021. That's a huge rise that we've seen in 2021. The average has gone from about 1.425 to about 1.7, give or take. And we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the year, but that's a big jump that we saw in 2021. Another thing which is interesting about the market is how many homes actually sell. So this is the last decade, or 11 years actually, of information of home sales, again in Lexington. Blue is existing homes, green is new construction, and then this kind of orangey color is the off-market teardowns. those homes that don't actually come on the market. So, as you can see, a decline in the number of homes that sold from 2015 through 2018 and 19. The reason for that is that many sellers were deciding to stay where they were, kind of age in place, if you will. And so less sellers actually came on the market. A lot of buyers still in the market, but less sellers came on the market. Now, what happened in 2020 and now in 2021 is we see the number of homes selling rising. We're seeing more sellers coming into the market and more buyers in the market. So that's what's happening here in this here. The red here is my projection as to how I think the rest of the year will play out. But that's what you see there. But you can see a big jump in the number of sales in 2020 versus 2021 in comparison to what we've seen previously. Here's another way to look at that. I'm comparing here the cumulative sales of 2019 versus 2021. You can see a large increase in the number of sales, and this gives you a sense of how many that was. But as you can see, we started off strong and it's continued all the way through, and we're now about 40 to 45 homes ahead of where we were in 2019, unsurprisingly. So a lot happening in the market. Essentially what's going on really is that people are changing in terms of what they're looking for. COVID is, many people spent 12 months at home. So COVID really has meant that a lot of people, their home they're in no longer meets their needs. Maybe they had no offices, now they need 2 offices. So there's a change in the need. We've clearly seen some sellers coming into the market to profit because house prices are rising. So economics 101, house prices rise, more people enter the market. So do they want a smaller house for less work? Do they want a larger house? I mean, all of this is kind of caused by COVID. Living closer to family and friends. Our son actually moved from California to Massachusetts. Decided he didn't need to be in California, didn't want to be in LA, and so came back to Massachusetts. So we have real experience of that one. And so many people looking for different features and amenity in a home. Perhaps it's more bathrooms, more bedrooms, more offices. So that's really what's happening in the market. That for many people, the homes that they're buying just don't meet their requirements today. As they're, say, no longer working from home or working from home as opposed to going in the office. So what have we seen? So a large number of sellers with changing values, a large number of buyers as well with changing values due to that pandemic. That's what we're seeing. From 19 to 20, 19, so it seems like a long time ago, we were looking at a softening sellers market. There was a little bit of discussion around an economic downturn in 2019. In fact, we saw that a little bit. But we shifted when we went from 19 to 20 into a seller's market. A lot of uncertainty, of course, in 2020. Now as we've come into 2021 and people have adjusted to the new normal, if you like, we're really going from a seller's market into a very strong seller's market. So it very much is a seller's market. And you can see that with the number of home sales increasing as well as the price increasing. We've seen very, very strong positive price appreciation throughout 2020, or at least a step jump really in 2021. So say we do a whole in-depth looking at the market on a monthly basis, but that gives you a kind of summary of what's going on in 2020 and now in 2021. So how much is your home worth? Shifting a little bit from the stats to how much is your home worth? Because it's really the critical component to getting the highest price for your home. Pricing correctly is the number one thing you need to get right. Overpricing, the number one mistake. So you need to look at a lot of things. Beds, baths, conditions, location, all of that plays in. Because what's interesting is house prices rise quite quickly. If you think about a home that is 2,500 square feet and another one that's 2,000 square feet, now that's only 500 square feet difference. But average home prices in Lexington running at about $400 a square foot, more in some cases. So even that $500 square foot difference, that can amount to a $200,000 difference. So what seems like a relatively small change actually is substantial in terms of what the price is. It's key to get a general overview of those comparable homes. It's really not quite enough. You really need to get that accurate market analysis to ensure you get that higher price. So let me talk a little bit about what our market analysis looks like, because it is different to what many other agents produce. Comprehensive and analytical, that's key, of course. That's absolutely key. We'll give you the data. We don't necessarily tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes sellers have usually an impression of their home that it's worth more than it actually is. And so it's our job really to ground you, to tell you exactly what a home is worth. Up-to-date market stats, I give you.
Because it's the right thing to do. There's so much danger with overpricing a home. So rather than tell you what you want to hear, we tell you what the data shows us. So that's sort of important that way.
And it really is about an objective comparison between comparable homes. So you look at two homes and you do, I guess, the high school compare and contrast, looking at a comparable home, what's its condition, beds, baths, location, and so on. And then your home, and say, okay, given that this home is larger with more bedrooms, it will probably sell for more than your home. Conversely, of course, if it's in a poor location, smaller, less bedrooms, it will sell for less than your home. So we do a compare and contrast between these candidate homes or comparable homes. And from that, you kind of bracket your home. Homes that sold for more than yours, homes that sold for less than yours, for one of those reasons that we just talked about, and that's what gives you that market range. So that's the theory behind and the practice behind the CMA. And having done that, comes out with a recommendation, a range of price. It's not an exact science, but to give you a range, and then a sales proposal showing you the dates and so on that makes sense given your timeline, given your circumstances, and so on. So that's our market analysis. There's a lot of information in there. It's not just about the price, it's all about everything else you need to look at. How did we come to the conclusion that we came to? That's key. And so we want that to be a relatively easy to read report that says, yeah, I understand this home sold for 1.2 million. My home is better than that, so I'll send for more. Conversely, this one sold for 1.5. Yeah, I'm not as good, I'm not as large, location, whatever it may be. Therefore, I'm less than that. So you can see what the pricing, where we came up with the pricing, and so you can understand that. So there's a little bit of seasonality to the market, and what I'm showing here is the number of homes that are listed, I think, in a given year. I've used 2019 data because it takes out any anomaly because of COVID. So I've gone back a couple of years, but almost whatever town you look at, almost whatever year prior, or 19 and prior, looked something similar to this. February, mid-February, early February, depends a little bit on the weather, of course. That's the start of the spring market. That then runs through to about July. And that's about 45 to 50% of the home sales are within that period. February is driven by the weather, of course. Buyers tend not to be active when there's snow on the ground. July is a key point because if you think about many towns, including Lexington, in order to get in the school system, you have to be living in the town, and therefore you need to actually have bought in that July time frame to give you 6 weeks to close to get you into the school system at the end of August. So that's why there's this drop-off, as well as vacations. This is why there's this drop-off in July, because that's 6 weeks or so before the start of the school year.
And we haven't seen this seasonality play out so much in 2020 and 2021, but it's more that this is what it typically is. With vaccinations happening in 2021, we're starting to see a little bit more seasonality creeping in, and we believe that by the time next year comes into play, that we will have our normal seasonality. The 2020, the latter part of 2020 and most of 2021 so far, any time's been fantastic to sell. But this is important, that if you've got time to plan to come on when it's a good time to sell. You know, if you're thinking about next year, well, time when to come on next year based on the timings. Because, for instance, that large spring/summer section, there's 3 distinct time periods in there that have better results than others. So it's important to sort of talk to us about seasonality if you're thinking about selling next year.
Sure.
Will we sell as early as
No, you talk, absolutely talk.
They're looking at to come on very quickly. So
Oh,
that's
then
why
that's
the next part of
perfect.
the market
That's
is
perfect.
Very
like
That's
soon.
perfect, because with 2021, with COVID, we're still seeing lots and lots of buyer demand out there, and not enough inventory to satisfy all the buyers.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the fall market, just about where we're coming into now, of course. Another peak in the terms of the number of listings that come on the market. And then traditionally, as Danny said, it drops off in November and December. What we saw last year, and we anticipate we'll see this year, perhaps not to the extent we saw in 2020, that these numbers will be higher because of the number of buyers in the market. So we will see more sellers coming on. So they look very low for 2019. That won't necessarily be the case for 2021. Although, you know, as Danny said, once we get into 2022, we anticipate we'll get back to that kind of more normal seasonality that we've seen. One question we inevitably get is my home a teardown? That's kind of a perennial question, specifically Lexington, Winchester, a little bit in Arlington, some in Belmont. You know, there are lots of new construction being built on the location of existing homes because there's no free land essentially. And so a question that's raised quite frequently is my home a teardown? And it's interesting to answer that question, because a home is a teardown where the land value is greater than what a home buyer would pay for that home. As I mentioned before, it's a very strong seller's market. There are lots of buyers out there. And many of the homes that are torn down are in that first-time home buyer price point. Rachel will talk more about this in a minute, but that's a very strong price point. And so it's very rare that land value is actually higher than a buyer will pay, specifically if these homes are relatively small, and therefore relatively inexpensive in comparison to the average in the town. So it's rare that actually happens. But interesting to look at some examples here as well. Who's telling you it's a teardown? It's kind of an interesting question. It's pretty obvious when a builder says, I'll pay top dollar for your home. Why would they pay top dollar if there's no competition? That's pretty transparent. When a builder says, I think your home is a teardown, clearly they do because they want to knock it down so they can build a new home. Perhaps less obvious when an agent says that, though, because what an agent might say is, I think your home it looks like it might be a teardown. Why don't I introduce you to a builder I know? You guys can work out how you want to work at what price he wants to pay, he or she wants to pay. I'll leave you to it. What's happening there is the agent isn't necessarily working in the seller's best interest, because the agent, the builder, pays commission on the sale of the new construction. So you imagine a tear down priced at say 600,000. The commission would be based on 600,000. If that was turned into a new construction, probably at $2 million, perhaps a little higher, then the commission payable, of course, would be on the new construction home. And so, not as obvious when an agent says, I think your home is a tear down, talk to a builder, but the problem with that is that in many cases they actually are working for themselves and the builder, not necessarily with the seller's best interests in mind. Here's a couple of examples. This was a home, if you look at it, it's pretty messy, clearly. Interestingly, the builders said they would offer $770 for that home. We came in and said this home is a great home. It really will sell for more than the builders are offering. You know, let's bring it on the market, and actually we did. We smartened it up somewhat. This is more than we would ordinarily. $20,000 is more than we would ordinarily pay. Expect to do a smartening up, but in this case, you know, there was a fair bit to do. We listed it for $839, so we're already ahead of what a builders would pay. But in the end, we got 7 offers and it sold for $900,000. So builders were offering $770. In this case, it sold for $900,000. And here's the after, if you will. This is the before. This is the after. It's the same kitchen. You can see some similarities in there. The appliances are the same. The cabinets have been painted and so on. So, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Cool. There we go. Good.
I was just wanting to get this going so that I could see if there were any questions.
All right. So there's one example. Another example here. In this case, builders were offering $550. Same idea. We went through smartened the home up. 10 offers on this home because of the price point. You know, we listed at $650. That's a very, very strong price point. There are an awful lot of buyers at that price point, and as you can see here, 10 offers in the end, and it sold for over 700,000, with a net increase to the seller in this case of well over $100,000. And so there's another example of where a home which on the face of it, as you look at the before there, looks like it might be a tear down, but actually turns out it was not. And actually, it sold from giving much more value to the seller, and a buyer is still in there and very happy in there, no doubt. Because of this kind of uncertainty in many sellers' minds around do I sell to a builder, do I sell to a buyer, we developed the buyer or builder program. And the idea behind this is that we come in and we'll do a market analysis on the home as if a buyer was going to buy it. So we'll do a market analysis on the home. What we'll also do is we'll ask a builder or two, how much would you pay for the home? So that you get those two pieces of information. How much a buyer will pay, how much a builder will pay, and then you've got the information you need to be able to make the right decision. In almost all cases, buyers will pay more than builders, but in some cases perhaps not. But it's important to get both of those pieces of information to both of those information. So, Rachel, what does selling in 2021 look like?
I think Rachel was just getting ready.
Oh, well, you're there, Rachel. You can do it. You can do it.
Hey, so what does selling look like in 2021? Well, typically there have been very few open houses. And actually you can lose buyers by having open houses because still being in this COVID-sensitive sort of environment.
Just going to push you further up there.
Okay. Because clearly we've come a long way since COVID first hit our lives, but we're still not out of it. And so we find that oftentimes buyers are not comfortable going to open houses. So instead, the serious buyers are viewing homes virtually. And then they're also scheduling private showings. And when they schedule private showings, that's really a great indication as to how serious they are about putting an offer in on your home. In terms of feature sheets, that's also been changing over time. We're finding that most buyers prefer a virtual link to your home where they can click on it and then look at everything over on their phone, on the computer. Marketing is all virtual. the videos that we do, 3D tours, the website that gets set up, the floor plans, all very easily accessible to you, having them online. No group closings. It's these days, when it comes to the closing, sellers and buyers are not in the room at the same time. Typically they sign all the closing documents ahead of time. So, that's just the way it is right now. Maybe things will change when we're no longer in such a COVID-sensitive environment. But typically that's what's going on right now. So let's talk about today's buyers and give you a little sense of what's going on. Today's buyers really want move-in ready. What does that mean? Well, if you consider that when we look at who our buyers tend to be, they fall into two groups. One group, you can see actually both are highlighted in yellow. One group tend to be the baby boomers who are maybe looking to downsize or to move to a smaller home because it meets their needs. And the other are the millennials, our first-time home buyers. In terms of the first-time home buyers, things have really changed these days because the first-time home buyers maybe have been living at home with their family members, saving money. So when it comes to looking for a home, we find that they're really busy. You can imagine with work, with children, just so many different things pulling at them, that when it comes to really being serious about finding a home, they are no longer looking for a home where they're going to do the fixing up. They just don't have that mindset. They're really a generation now that wants things to either have been done already for them or they're going to pay for someone to do it. So when it comes to looking for a home, we find that they either are going to be looking for a home and paying top dollar at the high end of their budget, or they're going to be looking to get a deal. And so what happens is they typically want a home that is move-in ready and it's fresh and it presents beautifully to them. Or they want to get a home at a price that's very reasonable in their mind and they can pay to invest in improving it and opening up walls or changing the paint color and updating the bathrooms. But for the most part, what we find is buyers these days want the house to be fresh and move-in ready.
And if they have to spend money on the home, they want a big discount on it. I just recently sold a home that needed a little bit of work done to it, and it probably, you could have easily have done the work maybe for $100,000 and gotten a great result. And I was hearing from buyers that it was going to cost them between $300,000 and $500,000. Wasn't going to cost anywhere near that, but that's what happens when buyers don't actually understand or know who to call and how much things cost. So they're going to take how much they think it's going to cost. They're taking that off the price of what they're willing to pay for the home. So it's really important.
It's really important for sellers to do everything you can to present your home in the best possible light so that buyers feel that they can move right in.
And that's what we'll show you later, because there's some things, we're not talking about renovating a house. Right. We're talking about minor things that just make a difference.
Yes. Cosmetic improvements, yes. Painting. You're going to see that there's certain things that are your best friend. Okay, so understanding the impact of the internet on real estate and how different things have become in terms of how buyers look for a home. Nowadays, how do buyers search? No surprise, they use the internet, they use their phone, they use their laptop, right? There's a lot of information out there that buyers are already looking into when they see a home come on the market. They know to go to the GIS to look at the home on the town's website. They know to look for a website. They know to look for a 3D tour. They know to look on Zillow. Buyers are really very educated about the real estate market. There are so many tools at their fingertips, and that really does impact what they come to expect when they go to see a home. It's critical to know the big questions to ask and to know what is happening and why when it comes to both selling your home and buying a home. And to trust the people who represent you, and that's really key. You have lots of choices out there, and we know that oftentimes people don't know what they're missing until they educate themselves on the different services and options when it comes to buying and selling. What you know or don't know will impact your outcome. It's a cliche, but it says so much.
That's why we do these sessions, is to just try and get the information out there to people, to just fill them in on what's out there.
Absolutely. Okay,
so
preparation.
We're getting on to preparation. So this is where it's my turn and I don't keep on jumping and
No
jumping
worries.
in and crashing on people's party. But this is where we talk about the types of things we talk about from a preparation perspective. We're not going to come in and suggest something that's going to cost $2,000 to do and it'll give you a $2,000 increase in sale price, because that's just busy work. What we might suggest to do is something that will cost $10,000 to do but might increase the sale price by $60,000. That's a good return on investment. So some of these things will give you a great return on investment. And why do we talk about this? So let's talk specifically about a local town in this area, where we are right now, running this out of our Lexington office. This is 2020 data. And what is important, whoops, let's go back there. I want to know how I get that focus on it. No. Let's see. Oh, there, I got it. Okay.
Got new technology.
I'm excited. Oh, well, that's not how it went. Okay. There we go. Where is Marcus? Ah, there we go.
This is key.
So this is 2020 data. If you look at this is the sale price to original price ratio for all of the homes sold in 2020. 2020 was a very, very big year with COVID. It was very, very popular. But look at the data there. 49% of the homes that came on the market sold for below the asking price. They sold for below the asking price. And only 51% sold for over the asking price. So sometimes we hear people saying, yeah, you can just put it on for whatever price you want because it's just going to sell. There's the data that it doesn't just sell. You've got to prepare it right and do all of these things to get over asking price offer. So because one of the key components of this is when you look at the days on the market, and this is, I like this little tool, here's your 100% sale price to list price ratio. The longer a home is on the market, the lower the sale price to list price ratio. So the longer a home is on, the less you're going to get for the home. So it's really important to capture those buyers as soon as they walk in the door, the first weekend. It's critical. So there's several, when we talk about this preparation, there's several options available for people. You can do nothing. The buyers and the developers will all compete for the home as well. There's not as many buyers who are looking for homes that need some work. And there's not many developers willing to renovate homes, but they're still out there. There are lots of developers who want to tear down homes. But yeah, exactly. We don't agree with that either. But that is an option for you. Another option is doing minor cleanups and cosmetic improvements, because as we've been talking before, the buyers want move-in ready. They want to be able to wheel their suitcase in the door, unpack, and they're home. They don't need to worry about how much it's going to cost to get painters in and different things like this. Or you can do updates on the home. But with those, you've got to spend your money wisely. There are certain things that are done around the home or could be done around the home that the buyers just won't pay any more money for. Things like windows. The buyers would love double paned windows, replacement windows. They would love those. But let's say you bought a home for for $1 million today, and tomorrow you put $30,000 worth of windows in. The very next day, you're still only going to get $1 million for it. They're not going to pay more money for the home with spending that $30,000. But there are a lot of other things around the home that if you wanted to spend $30,000 on your home, you could get a lot more money. So you've got to be you've got to spend your money wisely on that. And we'll show you a few things here. And it's a graduated scale from cosmetic to actual renovations, and it's dependent on your time frame for moving. Don't start doing some of this stuff if you want your home on the market in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, there are certain time periods associated. You know, it depends on what needs to be done.
It also speaks to, we find sellers sometimes want to test the market, and they put their home on the market not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But it sends the wrong message to buyers.
And it's also history that the buyers can see moving forward. Oh, they came on the market 4 months ago. I wonder why it didn't sell then. You know, what was wrong? Other people did. So it's not a great way of doing it. The next thing is when we talk about preparation, there's no one answer fits all. We can't just sort of say, well, if you do X, Y, and Z, that's going to work. It's a case of going into each home and saying, okay, here's what I was in a home just yesterday where I was suggesting to people, to the sellers, the various things that I would recommend doing, and they're different for every house. But it's one of the very definite rules, if you like, is don't do major renovations on the home unless you're going to be in the home for two or more years and can enjoy the renovations yourselves. This is a key one, this next one. Many high return on investment tasks are not high dollar ones. They're not high dollar ones. They don't cost as much money as people would expect. We'll give you advice on the highest return on investment tasks out there. We'll also give you advice on the things not to do around your home. It's great. Sometimes I'm just thinking of a home we bought on the market last year, and they were actually friends, and we had helped them buy the home, and we had suggested at the time, here's the sorts of things that you need to do to increase the sale price of the home when it's time for you to sell. And when we came to sell it, we asked them what they had done, and they didn't do any of the things that we'd suggested. They'd done all of the other things that don't increase the value of the home. So we'll give you the advice on what not to do, as well as what the priority order on some of them are as well. Some homes, when we go into them, don't need much. They might just need touch-ups of paint or something around the home, and staging, and we'll talk about staging in a minute. So the preparation, it can range from us providing the contractor resources, giving you the names of people that are very responsive and good, to we'll help organise getting the quotes for the work to be done, or we'll help coordinate the contractors, and we can oversee the project in conjunction with the sellers. But it's up to each seller to decide what level of assistance they want. Some sellers just want to do it all themselves, and we were working on a home last year, and the seller sort of said, look, this is great, but I just want to be an interested observer. I don't want to do any of this, you just do it all for us. So we did that with that home. So it ranges what you want. Here's some examples. Here's one.
This is fun.
Where
good to see. These pictures
Yes.
speak as worth a
pictures,
million.
yes, yeah. So this one had lots of wallpaper on the walls, and the floors were in rough shape. Coming in and just painting, that's all we did there. It was just painting. Actually, no, we did refinish the floors too, because the floors were in rough shape. But notice how we took down the drapes, and we took down the curtains, and we did actually sort of clean up a few other things there as well. But that wallpaper removal is a huge difference. Here's one. This was at a home at the end of last year. This had been a tenancy for about 10 years. We walked in and the carpets were in terrible shape. The walls were in terrible shape. Coming in and just paint, and rather than put carpet down again, we put down what are termed LVTs. They're luxury vinyl tiles. You can buy them at Home Depot. They just click into place, and it gives a very fresh finish, and they're cheaper than putting carpets down. Here's one where we often find that just painting the kitchen cabinets of a home, this particular home, it had the dark cabinets. It's in a prime location, but the kitchen looked a bit tired. So we went in and just painted the cabinets. That's all we did. We did do a little bit more. I shouldn't say that. We painted the cabinets. We did put new granite on the center island breakfast bar and also around the kitchen, and we put some stainless steel appliances in. Now, this home, where it was located, was going to get that money triple times because of it was in a prime location, and needed some capital investiture with it. But it's interesting because with this one I was helping the sellers, and I went down to Home Depot with them because they don't need to be expensive stainless steel appliances, because the buyers don't know what are expensive appliances. And in this case, I went down to Home Depot with them, and we're walking through it, and we were there for a couple of hours, and then I was starting to run out of time, and we just had a microwave to do. And so I left them with the person in Home Depot, and left them to it. And then I came back to the house about a week later because we needed to locate the pendant lights, and the electrician was there. And sitting on top of the counter was a black microwave, and I said, "So what's this?" And they said, "This is the microwave we bought. It was on special." And I said, no, it's black. It needs to go back. We need stainless steel. Because if you're going to replace the appliances in this, replace them to the one type. Don't mix them up. So anyway, we switched it out and got a stainless steel appliance. But we had competing offers on the home. But when you look at this image versus this image, there wasn't much money spent to get it from the before to the after, and the buyers respond to that. Minimal cost, maximum impact. Here's another example. This is the before photo. This was actually a photo when this home was on the market for 103 days, unsold, with another agent. I came in and talked to them about selling and suggested we just need to paint your kitchen cabinets. We did switch out a couple of appliances because they had mixed appliances. They had a mix of stainless steel and black. But after listing with us and just painting the kitchen cabinets and a couple of stainless steel appliances, we had competing offers on the home. It makes a huge difference. Here's another one. This is a photo. They were getting ready to, they were just unpacking or putting things into a pod, and they were talking to another agent about coming on the market, and their son had heard about us, so got us in to talk to them. And I came in and sort of said, "No, you can't come on like this. You can't come on like this. We need to paint your cabinets," because they were on the steepest driveway I've ever seen in town, the steepest driveway. And I was really worried with having the older oak cabinets that buyers would look, because they search online, they would drive up to the bottom of the house, see where it was, look at the photos and say, "Now let's just keep on going." So we came in and painted. So this is exactly the same kitchen. Nothing was done to the kitchen. The appliances are the same, the countertops are the same, just the kitchen cabinets were painted. And we had competing offers on the home. It makes a huge difference.
18.
Sorry?
I remember that. 18. I think you have a
Yeah,
lot of
18 offers, yeah. And here's another one. This is one that we had in Arlington. It was an older kitchen. We did do some work to it with We replaced the flooring because the sheet vinyl that was in the before was ripped up in some places, and painted the kitchen cabinets. We had competing offers with that one too. It just makes the home feel so much, the kitchen feel so much fresher, is important. But it's not just the kitchen that paint does a huge amount to. So I don't know about you, but we see a lot of homes where you've got the older, the older tiles that are either purple or burgundy or orange or green things. They paint up beautifully. Benjamin Moore sell a bonding primer that paints onto the tiles, and then you just put normal paint on. So we didn't do anything to this bathroom apart from paint. So you can see here, you can see that these are just tiles that have been painted and the wallpaper taken down, but all of the fixtures, everything was exactly the same. See, what happens when a buyer walks into a room in the before, and they're standing at the doorway and they're looking at the bathroom, oh, we're going to have to spend $30,000. They do come up with quite unrealistic estimates of how much things will cost. We're going to have to spend a lot of money on this before we even move in. So that then brings down the value of the home. When it's been painted like that, there's nothing else, just paint, they stand at the door there and think, yeah, well, there's a few dated fixtures, but we can live with this for the next 5 years. We can just live with this. This is great. We'll plan to do the renovations later. So it makes a huge difference. Here's another one: laminate counters and laminate cabinetry and your blue tiles. Most buyers would look at this bathroom and think, we need to redo it completely. And yet, just with paint, nothing else, just paint, makes it feel a move-in ready home. This one was another one in Arlington. Again, we don't want to have people spend money unnecessarily. We just want to have it so that the buyers can feel, I can just move into this home. So the wall tiles were painted, and the laminate counter was painted, as well as the cabinet. Here's an interesting one. This is a very interesting one. I think it's interesting. This particular home had been on the market for about 3 or 4 months with another agent not selling. When I walked into the home, the kitchen, and I love wood. I love cherry cabinetry. I love all of the different sorts of wood cabinetry that you find. In fact, I've got a wood kitchen at home. But the buyers are looking for white cabinets. When I walked into this particular home, it had a huge kitchen of all cherry cabinetry, and I was talking to the seller about maybe painting it. She wasn't really happy about that idea, and that's okay. It's not at all. But then after a couple of hours, she sort of said, I think I will. I think I'm going to trust you. I think I will. Anyway, 2 or 3 days later, after the kitchen was painted, she said, dang, I'm so excited. I love how the kitchen looks. I actually did our master bathroom as well. So this was the master bathroom that I didn't tell her to paint, but she was so taken with how the kitchen looked that she went ahead and painted the master bathroom as well. It's not just internal paint sometimes. It's all about the curb appeal to a home. So this home had been a for sale by owner, then it had been on the market for about a year or more with another agent. Then it was a for sale by owner again. And when you drive up to the house. It's got pale blue siding and sort of a burgundy pink trim colour. The garage doors were sort of an odd colour. You have a couple of scrubby trees in the front. Just with some trim paint and getting rid of the 2 scrubby trees, it makes a huge difference. Painting the garage doors and the trim your standard white colour, that is what people are used to and want to see, made the home. So it had been on the market for almost 2 years trying to sell just a little bit of exterior paint and some staging. It was, and Rachel will show you an example of one of the inside rooms with this home as well, but we sold it for over asking price. Here's another one. This one was a photo of when it was on the market at one point in time. You can imagine how dark the home was inside. You can't even tell that there's a side entrance there. But then with taking down some of those trees and then planting a couple of smaller trees, you can actually see that there's a side entrance. But it's not just, when you look at this after photo and you look at the smaller trees, what buyers really would like is new construction. But new construction is quite expensive. But when you've got some smaller shrubs out front, instead of all of the overgrown things at the front, the smaller shrubs make a buyer psychologically think, ooh, that's new. That's new. Even though it wasn't a new home, it starts triggering different reflexes within psychological reflexes, I guess. Staging. Rachel, you're on.
Find that stories of helping clients really is a wonderful way to reinforce things. So I just want to also speak to what Danny was talking about with preparation. I was working with a seller who, when I started talking to her about paint colors and how we can advise her, she said, that's great, just make sure that before you come over you let me know what your hourly rate is. And it was such a pleasure to say to her, there's no charge for that. That's part of the service that we provide when we work with our sellers and help advise
absolutely.
them, which I love. Okay, so let's now talk about staging and how important it is to really wow the buyers when they first walk in the door. Because once you get their attention and their interest, they look for all the other reasons why they love your house.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to point out that we are in lots of different communities, and perhaps you've seen our truck, but that is us, MA Properties, so keep an eye out for it.
And that's actually parked permanently down that, well, not permanently. It's our staging warehouse is below this building here. Our staging warehouse is, and we have something like 17 housefuls worth of furniture of all different styles. And
I need staging.
Okay, perfect.
Love that. In fact,
We can
thank
help
you
them.
for making that comment, because if you look at this, here are some statistics from NAR, the National Association of Realtors. 83% of buyers' agents said that a staged home helped their buyers visualize the property as a future home. And that's really key, because when the buyers walk through your home, we want them to see themselves visualizing living there. Really important. And it has a great impact. 25% of buyers' agents said that potential buyers increased their offer on a home between 1% and 5% when they made an offer. So if you consider a home selling for $1 million, 5% would be a $50,000 increase in their offer price that they
And
make
you
on
guys
a home.
won't charge staging?
Do we charge? No,
There's
there's no charge.
whatsoever.
Again,
no charge.
no charge. We
I
believe
think we'll show you that in a minute.
No, what do you cover?
Yeah, I'll give me one moment. I'll tell you that. And
It can be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll touch on that in just 1 second. So again, you get the point. Staged homes make such a huge difference. One other one, 85% of homes that were surveyed were sold for 6 to 25% more than homes that were not staged. And something that's real detriment right now is, you may even have seen this yourself, there'll be homes that are virtually staged online. So buyers will see these homes on MLS or on Zillow or on Redfin, get very excited. They then go to see the home, they walk in the door and it's totally vacant. And it's a real letdown. So that's something that's very, very important as a seller because we want you to be successful. So why is staging so important? It creates that emotional response from the buyer. That's really, really critical. I see that play out time and time again, that when my buyers walk through the door, immediately they can have a different visceral feeling when they see a home that speaks to them. And to your point, depending on the style of your home, we have all different types of staging furniture. So we really complement what you already have in the home. Other agents charge for the service, or the seller has to hire a separate staging company to come and stage their home. No, that is part of our service that we provide when we work with you. So how does the whole staging process work? Let me just walk you through it very briefly. Initially, there'll be a virtual, or in some cases, there hopefully once we get past the feeling with COVID being part of our lives, we'd go back to an on-site type of consultation. But right now, there's a virtual consultation where we show our staging director, our staging colleague, we show her a video of your home. We help you determine how you can depersonalize your home. Really, really important. We want you to depersonalize it and declutter it. When a home has not been personalized, what happens is the buyers get caught up in looking at your personal photos and your diplomas or other types of little artifacts that you have in your home. And that's really, it's unfortunate because we want them to notice the space. That's what's key.
And what we should say too is that what our staging coordinator does is she'll, for the last 18 months, she's been working off videos that we take in the home when we go in there, and she'll work on that. She's starting to go into some homes.
Depending on the comfort level of the seller.
Yeah, depending, because we don't want to sort of just come and sort of visit you and you're uncomfortable with it. But what she'll do is she'll create a list of all of the things that she would recommend being done. So it takes that
I find that
uncertainty.
I find that the summary that she provides you, the seller, is so incredibly helpful because she literally goes room by room. In the foyer, her recommendations are to remove X, Y, and Z. As she goes through your home into your kitchen perhaps, or your family room, again, these are recommendations based on what we see play out time and time again and helping you, the seller, get competing offers. And that's key to getting you the highest price. Just to put it in perspective, Danny already commented that we have a warehouse full of furniture to accommodate your needs and what works for you. We have a staging professional and a coordinator. We have part-time professional stagers. We have our own moving truck that you already saw. It's really dependent on what your needs are and what your interest level is for us in terms of helping you. In 2001, we typically ask that you're not present when the stagers are in your home. But again, we work based on your comfort level. Okay, so let's show you some photos because photos really make the point. So here's an example of a home that we had, a home that before we had it, it was on the market for 206 days and it was unsold and it was listed with another agent. We came along and we looked at that beautiful space, and by staging it, after listing with us, the seller received competing offers and sold for a.
And part of that is that room that was vacant. It's very difficult to work out when a buyer's walking through there that it's actually a dining room because there's no chandelier there. There was nothing to really identify that it was a dining room. So just by putting some furniture in, it evokes the imagination.
And perfectly, especially if you look at this photo. Again, here's an example of a lovely spacious room, but it's empty. It doesn't have any warmth to it. When you look at the room staged, look at what a difference.
I can't resist. Sorry, we're just sharing Ferrero Rochers.
Go for it. I can't emphasize this enough in terms of as a seller, buyers need help seeing a home in terms of how the space could be utilized. So that's something that we find really reinforces why staging is so important.
Choose the styling you want to let us to use.
The
kind of, because I might not like the color, so I might say, oh, we should try this color.
Absolutely. This is a partnership. And it's a service that we provide to help you be successful. So for us, in many cases, we have the first-hand experience of what we know buyers like, what really is something they respond to. Typically, as Danny already mentioned, buyers want new construction or want the feel of a new home, whether or not their budget can lend itself to it. So there's ways that we help you create that feeling, whether it's using neutral tones when you paint a home. But we definitely work within listening to you in terms of making sure that you're happy with it. That's our number one goal. Here's an example. Look at this. Here's a room. It's unique. It has some built-ins, has the wood paneling, and buyers, I think, could be confused as to how to utilize that space. Through staging, look at how we help them see that it makes a lovely dining room. Some more examples. Again, here's a lovely room. Look at the fixture at the top. Look at the fireplace. Look at the windows. Beautiful space. But until you see it furnished, I don't think it really will speak to you the way we know it does when it's staged. Once you have the hook of a buyer loving your home because they can see their family living there, that's what it takes to get them to the next step of wanting to make an offer. Again, here's an example of a bedroom. It has a ceiling fan, it has some interesting flooring, some windows, but again, it's a tricky shape when you look at the way the room is, the cutouts. But when you see it staged, what a difference. And that's something I must say that I also have found for myself. When I look at a bedroom, sometimes it's very tricky to know where to put the bed. I can't tell you how many times we'll hear buyers say, will a queen bed fit in there? Will a king? Oh, I don't think so. And then by showing them the room staged, it takes all of that mystery, it takes it off the table. Even with new construction, we find it is so important to stage. Here's an example of a new construction home, beautiful home, very interesting detail when you look at the fireplace and the mantle and the stairs. Now look at the difference when it was staged. Another example, and this one's also very, very important.
And this is the one that we painted the outside on.
Gotcha. So as Danny already pointed out, sometimes sellers want to take on the task of selling their home as a FSBO, for sale by owner. So here's an instance of a home that initially it was a FSBO, then it was on the market for over a year with another agent. The seller got frustrated, chose to try again as a FSBO. It still didn't sell. Oops.
Yeah, how do I get rid of that? Oh, look. There we go, keep going.
Thank you.
It's hard with this, all this stuff going.
Although I need a little help, I can't get it to go forward.
Marcus!
Click into you clicked out of the PowerPoint. Click into the PowerPoint.
The carbonite came out.
Click in the PowerPoint.
No, there, try now, Rachel. No.
But to answer your question, in terms of staging, we definitely listen to you. And if you have a palette that you're very prone to, but again, we offer that voice of reason, to say maybe we use a little bit of that color.
That's nice. You can
cabinet
find all kinds of things.
Yes, absolutely.
When I borrow this, I have only certain things I can use. But here, with like so many things, somebody else can choose.
Absolutely. Okay. So here's an example of the room when it was empty, when it was being sold as a FSBO, and then we came along and working with us, we got competing offers, and the home sold for over asking. Here's an example of a home that has a very flexible floor plan. You could say, oh, that's easy then for buyers to figure out how to use the space. We actually find when it's flexible like that with lots of different spaces, they don't really know where should the dining room be, where should the family room be. So by staging, we take the guesswork out of it, and we can get them to focus instead on whether or not it's a home that they want to make an offer on, which is really where we want to help them get to.
Because when you see that one, when you see the vacant one here, there's the living room in the front, way up the front. And then you've got a dining room because there's a chandelier there. Well, this room that's closest, what's that? You've got a living room, a dining room. What's this room here? So buyers would have walked through that thinking, I don't know what to do here. I don't know how it would happen. So by us staging, the front room is the living room, then the middle room is the dining room. We staged this last room as the pre or post dinner drinks room. The buyers say, that's how I can use this space. This is when I've got guests coming over and we want to have a drink before dinner or a drink after dinner or something like that. So you've got to evoke the imagination of the buyers as to how they can use a room. And staging does that.
I believe there's some statistic that buyers make an impression of your home within seconds of walking into your home.
Yeah.
And so this really helps them have that impression be a positive one right from the beginning. Okay, so now the power of staging hopefully spoke for itself. Now I turn it back to Marcus. Here you go, Marcus. Thank you.
And I should have bought my drink you made, but I won't. I'll keep going.
I'll get it for
No,
you.
it's fine. It's fine. So marketing. Fourth piece of it. you understand the market, you've prepared the home, you've staged the home. Now, of course, the trick is to get it out in front of the widest number of potential buyers. Thank you. Potential buyers out there. So that's what marketing's all about. Unsurprisingly, digital media is key to selling your home. I mean, today, as Rachel mentioned this when talking about today's buyers, everything's online, everything's digital, and the same applies to when you list a home, of course. What was interesting, what we found too, is that there's a direct correlation between the number of digital views of the digital media, and the number of private showings. Typically, 40 plus views of the 3D tour, for example, in the first 2 days gives you 20 private showings. So there's a very close correlation between views of the digital media and then people making private showings. And then, unsurprisingly, a direct correlation between the private showings and the number of offers that you get. Because what's happening, we're finding, is in today's market, potential buyers, are reluctant just to go to an open house. They may not even be open houses. We'll talk about that in a moment. So they're reluctant to go and just, I'll go and take a look at the house anyway. They're being a little bit reticent. So what they're doing is they're spending a lot more time discussing with their agent, with themselves, all of the digital assets, 3D tour, videos, photographs, description, all of that they're doing beforehand. And then, having done everything online, then they're saying, yes, this is a home I'm interested in, I'm going to go see it. Privately. Historically, what often people would do buyers would do on a Saturday or a Sunday, they would just go to open houses. We've had open houses with 100, 150 people through. Sort of a social thing, they would go out and take a look at houses. Today, not so much. They're doing all of their homework up front, all of the work up front, and then they're going to make that private showing. So there is a definite shift in 2020, no question, but also continuing through now into 2021 of that everything online and then going make private showings. So that's why having all of everything online is absolutely key. Here's an example of a home which clearly didn't do that kind of exposure. As you can see, this home came on the market December 22nd and immediately went under agreement. So clearly that home would not actually been exposed to the market. As you can see, the days to offer, days on market was 0. So it came on the market and immediately went under agreement. That's too fast, way too fast. Nowhere near enough people saw that. And here's the key, the price essentially was the same. There was no excitement about this home. There was nothing that kind of made buyers get excited and therefore, unsurprisingly, raise the price. Right? That's an example of what not to do.
It's a disservice to the seller. We feel it's a disservice to the seller.
Absolutely, very much so.
Right?
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. We mentioned before that the number of digital views. So how do we do that? So last year, the year before, I think. Last year we've been kind of upgrading it as we go through. We have an app that sellers see that gives them lots of information about their transaction. Here's an example of all of the key dates as you're in the pre-listing, as you're going through that preparation and staging. The key one though is when you're on the market, you can see how many views there are of, in this case, the 3D tour. So you can see real time how many people are viewing the property. And that gives you a very good sense in terms of, did you price it right? Is it getting the interest that we'd hoped? You can see it real time that playing out. So that's important, and that's where we get those metrics that I gave you previously in terms of the number of views of the digital tour leads to so many private showings, because we know exactly how many views there are being 3D tour, brochures, videos, and so on. So what's included in the marketing package, if you wish to call it that? So clearly photographs. I mean, that's what first thing everybody sees, of course, is the photographs, and I'll go through these in a lot more detail in a second. Videos. YouTube is inevitably the place people go to do anything, to find out information. 3D tours, I'll talk a little bit about that. Floor plans, putting everything together into a website, a one-stop shop where all of that information is, and then having built that, then get it out in front of buyers. So let me go through some of these, show you some good and some bad. So photographs. Professional photography sells homes. I mean, that's true of advertising, isn't it? Photography sells anything. But it's really key to have professional photographs. Many people worry that older homes don't photograph very well. Perhaps they seem somewhat dark, but as you can see here, this was a home built in the late 1800s, photographed beautifully. And so this is key. And to give you an example of, this is good, let me give you an example of poor and tell you a kind of story around them. This, as it turns out, is the same kitchen. They're not our photographs, I should add. If you look at this one, you look at this one, clearly this is much more appealing. This would draw people, potential buyers, attention in and actually get them to go to the open house. This one, less so, not so much. But as you can see here, much of the work has been done in terms of preparing this and staging this home. What's let it down, of course, is the photography, because it looks small and kind of pokey, I guess is the word I would use. Here, it looks like an expansive, well-lit kitchen, an airy room. This will draw people to the open houses. This, of course, will not. And we have many, many examples of this. This one, perhaps you can see, is actually blurred. This is a real photograph. This actually was blurred. This is a similar kitchen, one of our photographs. I want to give you a kind of sense of what some of the photographs out there. But that one's not. That was somebody literally with an iPhone. It's blurred. Here's another one. Again, Danny and Rachel talked about staging and preparation. This one just doesn't. It's a small kitchen, clearly. But still, with the right staging, the right preparation, that would look much, much more appealing.
Especially because kitchens and baths, we know, are instrumental in a home.
Absolutely.
And people will look past other things. They really no garage or this or that, but a kitchen and a bath.
Well, kitchens, bathrooms, master bedroom. That's kind of the three. Then everything else is kind of after that. Again, actually, I like this. They could have actually removed that, couldn't they? But again, it's blurry. Another one, back to what Rachel was talking about staging. I'm assuming that's a dining room. It's a bit blurry. It's hard to tell, but I'm assuming that's a dining room. But it's just, you look at that and you think, well, we'll pass on that home.
Just want to add one other thing, Marcus, and
sure.
I think what we also recognize and we really reinforce to sellers is buyers are smart. They're doing their homework. They're looking at homes week after week, and they're going online. They're looking at the internet. They really can start to rule out, when they see photos that don't. There's something wrong. Yep.
We often say that if there isn't a picture of a room, there's something wrong with the room. If there isn't a picture of a kitchen, if the first photograph isn't of the front of the house, then there is no curb appeal. So you can tell a lot by what photographs are missing, let alone what photographs are actually included as well. Here's the last one, clearly.
And that just staggers me that can go on, and the sellers would be okay with that.
Might be okay with that.
But anyway,
expectation.
Yes, and this is the first thing that on any platform, this is the first thing that a potential buyer sees. Whichever platform you're talking about, photographs is the first thing that any potential buyer sees. So, photography, sells clearly. Video sells too, and it's very, very important to have, in this case, a different set of videos.
Video here.
Yes.
Yeah, depending on
side, automatic from here up there.
We'll show you some. We'll show you some after we've done this. We'll show you some of those.
So they don't have to come very many times. Maybe first time.
We do it.
I can see from home first.
I'd love to show the 3D.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
do this after the session.
Yeah.
After
Okay.
we finish the last room, we'll
far
show
away
you.
from here, they can see something way behind. They
That's
come over
exactly
here
right.
to see,
And in
Absolutely.
fact, I just want to make a comment. We have buyers who so badly want to be in Lexington, they will buy a home sight unseen. It's amazing, which is why our speaks to the marketing.
right. all of this. In terms of video,
Yeah,
we
something like that.
we want to cater for all the different platforms, if you will.
And different towns. That one on the far right is Rachel's
Oh.
listing in Watertown.
That's Watertown. Top
The
10.
one down the bottom is a listing that we sold in Carlisle. We've got two others that are in listing. Yeah,
Right.
I need to find some Arlington ones. I need to find some Winchester ones. Need to find some Belmont ones. Yeah.
So the idea of, and to show you the 4 here, is to show you the different types of videos that we do too, depending on the different platforms. So this one, where it's kind of we put a GoPro on our dog's back and having walked through the home, perfect for social media. Top 5 reasons you'll love this home. Gets buyer's imagination. Oh, why does the seller love to live here? So you're kind of trying to evoke some kind of attraction to the home straight away. Why is it that a potential buyer wants or the existing seller lives there, and therefore why I would want to live in that home? There's the traditional walkthrough video, exactly as you were saying, catering for perhaps people who are looking before they go and do a private showing. Perhaps they're not in the state, maybe they're not even in the country. And then for some of the larger homes, we want to evoke what would it be like to live in that home, because even with staging in a very large home, it needs a little bit more. So there's another example of video, but different types of video catering to different platforms and different uses. So video is key. What we'll show you afterwards is the 3D tour. This is a static view of it. This really is the tool that allows somebody who isn't in local to look at the home, because what it allows you to do is walk around the home as if you were there. This is video is all very well. We're the director, if you like, as with all movies. There is a director. Here, you're the director. You can go wherever you want to go. Upstairs, downstairs, spend a long time in a room. You can look at the room as you want to be in it. And perhaps, if you've got somebody relocating in, somebody buying sight unseen, this gives them a sense to actually be in the home, if you like. So
do you see the video from the top, from higher?
You can, yes. We did that for
yes.
It's very high, so they can see.
Yep.
Especially, it's a different direction.
different
Yes.
angle.
Yeah.
Different angles, because
Yep.
we are not very straightforward.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just higher and lower, so they can see.
Yep, we do drones as well.
Yeah, in fact, this one backed onto a golf course. This one backed onto a golf course. So we wanted to show that it backed onto a golf course. Now that's hard to do when you're at eye level. So we took the drone up to show you the home and what was behind it. So that's an
And the
example.
one at the bottom there too.
Yeah, this
the
one
drone.
too is a drone
Yeah.
actually as well. Because the sheer size of the home, it's the only way to kind of show it in its full extent was to use a drone as well. So actually, this one used a drone. We don't have it showing here, but this one is actually some drone video that we used to showcase the home. Yeah. So 3D tool, very, very powerful.
We'll show you this
We'll show you an
after,
example
after the session.
what that
We'll
looks
show you
like.
the 3Ds on the videos.
And then, having done all that work, the photographs, the videos, 3D tour, feature sheets, and so on, you need to wrap it all up in a single place where a potential buyer can go. So in this case, this was a home on Merriam Street, 27merriam.com. Rachel's is 29commonwealth1.com because it's a condominium.
Or 18pineknoll.com.
Yep, 70princeton.com, which was a home we recently sold in Arlington. So on this website, we put everything. And there's beautiful narrative walking you through the home, showing you those great photographs and so on. So the website is that single point that people can go, or friends, relatives, whoever it may be, can go and find everything, all the information about that home. Floor plans are important too. Here's a schematic floor plan. People like to play what ifs. What if I added another bathroom? A floor plan really enables you to...
You're doing that too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Because people inevitably can't put another bathroom, but people like to play what ifs. What ifs. Each of these are examples of our marketing that we do, and each of our homes gets this full suite of marketing. We don't cherry pick, if you will, which homes get what. We do the same
Every
marketing
home
suite
gets
for
the
everything
same.
gets the same. Now, having done all of that, now it's a case of putting it out there and getting it in front of potential buyers. Right? So one way to do this, and the kind of broad mechanism first of all, is through social media. Here's examples, 4 examples here, just listed, home of the week, and so on, where we've showcased the home, and this is where high quality photographs comes in, of course, otherwise they'll kind of scroll right by, but this is where we showcase the home to a relatively wide group of people.
Are you measuring the whole dimension?
Yep. Yep.
Pictures?
And we also we have done some on WeChat as well, and Facebook and Instagram. I think we've done some on Instagram
Right.
lately.
Mhm.
So we do a whole range
Try
of
to
social
put
media.
it on. We've done all the work to create all the photographs and the videos and 3D tours, so let's push it out as wide as we can. That's the key. That's the broad mechanism, but we also do a very targeted push as well in terms of our marketing. So, for example, perhaps we're putting a home on the market that's priced at $800,000 in Arlington. So we would then look at all the people who've come, for example, to open houses previously in that town, in that price point, and then we would say, hey, you came to an open house at 57 Princeton. We're bringing 70 Princeton on the market. It's very similar. You may be interested in. So we want to target those potential buyers who may not have bought at this point in terms of what homes are coming on the market. So we go broad initially, and then we go very targeted, looking at the large number of buyers that we have in our internal databases in terms of putting this information in front of them. So that's the kind of marketing, that's the marketing piece to it. So,
Okay, we're getting down to the wire. We are
There we
almost finished. So what do we mean by excellence through teamwork? It means that we have specialists in every area working on that component of bringing your home on the market. But when you come down to it, the client is the center of our universe. The agent works with the client. The listing coordinator works with the client. The closing coordinator, when the home's under agreement, works with the client. We do the preparation and staging and the marketing component. We all work with the client to make it a very, very positive experience, but it's also that we have specialists working on it. We're not getting the agent doing the social media post. I don't know how to do that. We don't have the agent not necessarily doing the staging, because we have a staging, an interior designer. All of these sorts of components, we have specialists doing this. Because our goal is to sell your home for the most amount of money in the least amount of time with zero hassle or stress. That's our goal. Because it creates relationships for life. It creates experiences that people will talk about. We have a lot of times where we'll have someone use us because their friend used us before and they had a really positive experience.
Just want to comment.
Yeah.
A couple things come to mind. Find that with
Louder.
we find that with sellers, here's something to think about. Here you have your home. Is it okay to
Right.
Yeah, no,
make a quick
absolutely.
comment?
Yeah,
Just want to share something that here we are working with you to sell your home, and the last thing we want to do is inconvenience you more than we have to. But we know that by you making your house look so ready for buyers to come through, vacating the home for a few days, we get as many buyers through the door that are serious buyers as possible. Your home gets sold very quickly, and I know Danny's going to talk about that. But it's not about how long can we keep your home on the market. Because weekend after weekend, you have a life to live, right? And you have things to do. And so that, I think, is very important for the seller to know that.
And we get the highest price after the first weekend.
That's what's key.
And that was that data that we showed very early on, is the first weekend that the home is on the market. By reviewing offers on the Tuesday, that's when we get the highest price for a home. Because the longer it's on the market, the lower the price is. But it's important to talk about our core values, because real estate agents have got a bad reputation. They have. Real estate agents have got a bad reputation. Some of it deservedly so, but we won't go there. Our core values are integrity and ethical behavior, education, not selling, not trying to sell someone, and exceptional customer service. And we live these and breathe these day in and day out. But it's also a thing where you need to be using a professional versus Aunt Mary. A lot of people use a friend, or they use someone that sells a home once every 3 years. That's not going to get you the highest price, because you want someone who does it day in and day out to get you the highest price. You don't want a 3Ps agent. And a 3Ps agent is a term known in the industry, that a 3Ps agent is someone who puts a sign out front, puts it into MLS, and then prays. That's not going to get you the highest price.
Could you just clarify what puts it in MLS, what that is?
Put.
No, what MLS is?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Multiple listing service. That's where all of the agents put homes for sale is in MLS.
Okay.
But it's not just us saying this. NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, commissioned a study about a year or two ago about what the biggest threat to the industry was. What's the biggest threat to the real estate industry? And the number one threat to the real estate industry was masses of marginal agents destroy reputation. The real estate industry is saddled with a large number of part-time, untrained, unethical, and/or incompetent agents. This knowledge gap threatens the credibility of the industry. It's not us saying this. This is an independent study that came up with that. Here's the agents in the team. There's myself, Marcus, Rachel, Corinne, another Rachel. It's very confusing with another Rachel. There's Wen-Jen, there's Yuki, and Andrew. So we've all been together for years, and it's like a family. So what's the steps? How do you then plan on bringing your home on the market? So get us in to advise you, even 5 years in advance. I'm often talking to people, actually, a home that we just put under agreement, we bought it on the market 3 weeks ago. I'd been working with those sellers for about 6 years, just giving them advice on different things to do. And we sold their home and we got a great result for it. They're very, very happy. But plan your move. Do you know where you're going? Do you need to sell in order to buy? Plan what your moves are. And the order of buying and selling depends on your finances. So we can help. Everyone is different. So we can help with that. But start preparing your home. Even if you're not thinking about selling for another couple of years. I know you're thinking about selling sooner rather than later. But even if you're not, start doing some of the things in advance. Information is key. On our website, we have a Selling Essentials video series where you can find all sorts of questions on selling a home. But get us in for a no obligation market analysis. We can come in and do that. Because to us, we're partnering with you, and you can reach out to anyone in the team and they'll help. Communication's key, both ways. And basically our catchphrase is relax, we've got this. So because we think that our client deserves to be the smartest person at the closing table, and that we all benefit by becoming smarter about buying and selling. And that's it. Now, for you who are here, we're going to show you a 3D tour. Actually, yeah, you could do it. You can still live stream the 3D tour in the video if people want to stay.
I could, if you want me to.
Yeah, why not do that? Because you had the questions on the 3D tour, and bring up, say,
the 3D
maybe
tour will show
5
you,
Kimball.
To your point,
Maybe bring up 5 Kimball.
If someone wanted to look at your room
Because it's
from all
closing
different angles.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Excuse me while I.
And if you're looking to bring your home on the market in 3 weeks, which I've heard you say, we act fast.
Yes.
We do. So I'll come right in and help you look at your home.
Probably.
Okay.
So you wanted to look at 5 Kimball?
Yeah, because that's closing tomorrow. Do we want another one to? Which one do you want to do? It's just.
And then you can ask your questions. If, feel free to speak up.
I can't
We
spell.
never tested the size of our house. So because we built this part first and then the second part together. So we never really asked somebody to measure everything.
The floor plan and the assessors database have, the assessors database has some of that information for you, but we use that to begin with to do a market analysis. But then when we get the 3D tour done, go to the 3D tour and the floor plan that's generated from it, it will show us the sizing as well.
So we help you with that.
Yes.
We take care of that with you.
Yeah. So here's the 3D tour.
Yes, perfect. So 3D tour. We were talking before about perhaps somebody, one of the parties are not here, maybe none of the parties are in the country, as Rachel mentioned, or in the state. So the 3D tour allows you to navigate around the home, going wherever you want to go. So as I mentioned, you, the potential buyer, is the director. You can spend as long as you want. You can look at all different aspects of the home.
You can go up and down the stairs, you can go down in the basement.
But it's got a nice basement, this one, doesn't it?
Yep.
Let's go down to the basement.
And as you commented before, buyers can do this at any hour of the day.
Yes. Because this is all on their website, all on the website for the home.
So there you go. So we just
Because
navigate
before
to
the first time they can see during the first time they can see, everybody can see it, they can see online.
Yes.
Right from the beginning. As soon as your home goes
before you
live.
can have a
Open house.
open house.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to do it before the open house because we want to get people's excitement about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we want to get some excitement about the home, get them interested in the home.
So at least
Yes, this is definitely a
basic
home.
idea.
Maybe
Part of it,
helpful.
we won't come to see it. Yeah.
Danny, maybe you just
You
want to
could-
comment on the way the schedule works. Thursday is on the market.
Yeah, a home typically comes on the market Thursday with all of this marketing already done. And their website is there for the home the minute it's on MLS. The minute it comes on the market, there is a 5kimball.com or an 18pineknoll.com. The minute it comes on, it's all there available for the buyers. So the buyers can investigate the home before they even decide that they want to see the home. So they're walking around the home on the 3D tour, or having a look at the video, or looking at the floor plan, and we'll show you all of those components. But based on all of this, they say, oh, I really like this home, let's go and see it. So they organise with their agent to get in and see the home during a private showing.
When do you send out the emails?
They go out the day within an hour of the home coming on the market.
Usually, how large is your database?
Our database has 23,000 people in it. Now, not all of those, remember with the emails, we do target emails. So, for instance, we might have 700 people who have been to an Arlington open house or an Arlington home from 1 to 1.5 million. So if we're bringing an Arlington home on the market in that price range, we'll send it to all of those 700 people. Or we might send it to 1,200 people in Lexington for a $1 to $1.5 million home. Depends on the price of the home that we're bringing on, and depends on the town. We don't send it to 22,000 people, but we have those people in our database segmented with that we know what homes they've gone to see in the past.
Are all your potential buyers locally, or they spread across the United States?
Spread across.
Yeah.
Yep. So Marcus, do you want to show?
You mentioned about the floor plan.
Yep.
So here is the floor plan. that is generated by the 3D tour. This is the basement level. Here's the first level, first floor, and so on. Now from this is what we create the schematic floor plan that I just showed you, and it's from this that we calculate the square footage of the home. So this is how it's calculated. So it's not something that a potential seller has to calculate. It's actually calculated based because of the tools that we use to generate the 3D.
And show the floor plan online on this website too. Oh, and do the I was going to say.
Do one thing at a time.
Yeah, do the dollhouse view. Do the dollhouse view. The dollhouse view is awesome.
So this.
Yeah.
I'm going to zoom out a little bit on this one.
How do you do that?
This was a three level home, but it gives you a sense of what is above and below what, for example.
So if someone was thinking about putting a full bathroom in, they can see whether there's a full bathroom either above it or below it to be able to do the same plumbing stacks and things like this. So it's a really powerful tool.
By the way, we have a great view of your arm, Danny.
Sorry?
We have a great view of your arm.
Oh, here.
You're just slightly out of the shot. You should
I'm
be in the shot.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
So we're still live streaming. Okay.
there you go.
There you go.
No, otherwise we just saw a blank. All we could see was the
How do
blank
you
screen.
see that with inside, from inside?
So this is just
Like
see these
if you open
options.
the whole thing again, to outside again.
So pull out of the dollhouse view. So go back to the walking view. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
like before you first created, close the outside. Yeah. See. Wow.
The software gives you lots of options.
so do the video and show the video, because we normally do that. There's this one. There's normally just music to it. But
There is,
Oh.
yes, yes, there is.
Okay, and then the
You
floor
know,
plan.
And the
Sorry?
key is that every home, no matter what the price point is, gets the same full service for marketing it. And I think that's really nice.
So here's the floor plan.
But it's developed from that 3D tool that you saw.
Yeah.
And I thought you can expand it.
And do the feature sheet.
So here's a feature sheet that we produce.
Oh, and we should point out, hang on, go back to the, it came on the market for 2,150,000, okay, and we had 11 offers on the home, and it's closing tomorrow or the next day, it's meant to be tomorrow, for 2,370,000. So it got $220,000 over the asking price, because we priced the builder priced realistically, and
Staged it. I brought
and
buyers
the
in when it
stage-
was empty, and it
yeah,
staged it really.
that's right. The staging makes the difference. It makes the difference because the buyers can sort of say, "Oh, this is how I would live here." Makes a huge difference.
Right, I'm going to shut down the live stream, I think.
Yes. Unless anyone's got any questions on the live stream. So